Indians should make us hang our heads in shame as a nation. Who betrays, of course, its war heroes, our heroes who made the supreme sacrifice for us. This is the story of Captain Saurabh Kalia, a Kargil war hero who laid down his life defending our borders, and now his father is reduced to go from door to door asking for justice for his hero son. And India has overlooked its brave heart and chosen to let Pakistan off the hook. Captain Kalia's father, retired scientist N K Kalia, has been battling for justice for his son and has now knocked on the door of the apex court, seeking directions to the union government to take up his son's case to the International Court of Justice. He wants India to exert pressure on Pakistan, expose the torture inflicted on his son. Now, in his petition to the Supreme Court, Dr. Kalia has contended that the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Home Affairs should ask the International Court of Justice to expose the torture that resulted in Captain Kalia's death. Now, Captain Kalia was made captive and subject to brutal torture by Pakistan Army. This was in 1999. It was his first posting in the 4 Jat Regiment in the Kargil sector. He was captured along with 5 soldiers of his patrolling team on the 15th of May 1999 and was held as a POW, as a prisoner of war by Pakistan Army. The soldiers were tortured in captivity for 22 days. Their bodies were mutilated, and after a continuous crossfire with Pakistan armed forces from across the LOC, he and his troops ran out of ammunition. Well, the question we're asking now is, as a nation, isn't it a shame that for promoting ties from Pakistan, India denies justice to its very own hero who laid down his life fighting for this country? Why is India not pursuing Captain Kalia's case with the International Court of Justice? Why hasn't India pursued Pakistan to bring to book those who have tortured India's brave? Well, this is one of many such stories coming across. A gruesome incident where a prisoner of war, an Indian prisoner of war, was tortured in Pakistan. Well, this is a Kargil hero we're talking about, and it seems the establishment, in a bid to try and promote ties with Pakistan, has forgotten just what our heroes have done. Gaurav Sawant, Editor Strategic Affairs, now joins us. Gaurav, just take us through the details of this case. Absolutely unbelievable, unfathomable that India's brave, India's heroes are forgotten and treated with such dismay.
Oh, indeed. And this is somewhere where the BJP government of that time needs to explain, because Captain Saurabh Kalia's father has been waging a relentless war since 1999 for justice. His son was brutally tortured by the Pakistan army. His body was mutilated, as were several other Jawans of the Jat regiment in Kaksar sector, where they were the first to detect Pakistani intrusion in the Kargil theatre of war. And when the body came back, I was present there in that sector at the Zero Bridge when the bodies were handed over to India. There was tremendous anger. There was tremendous anger in the Indian camp, not only because of the intrusion, but because of the manner in which the Pakistan army had tortured then Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia and other Jawans of the Jat regiment. The government of India at that point of time had promised to take up this matter at the highest level with Pakistan. But sadly, this case was never taken up strongly with Pakistan. Saurabh Kalia's father has constantly been fighting for justice, and now he's approached the Supreme Court saying...
Gaurav, let me interrupt you here, Mr. N K Kalia. This hero's father now joins us live. Appreciate you joining us, sir. Of course, this has been very difficult for you. It's been very testing as well. First up, I want to ask you, what do you want? How do you want the government to take this forward? How will there be some closure in this case?
Actually, when this incident happened in '99, they were promised by the PM, External Affairs Minister, and the Defense Minister that this issue will be raised with Pakistan as well as at international fora. But unfortunately and sadly, I'm afraid to convey that nothing concrete happened in all those 13 years, and through information got from RTI also, I learned that there is hardly any appreciable move on the part of government of India.
So has there been any contact from the government of India? You know, there were assurances given to you earlier. You're saying that you want to approach the International Court of Justice as well. Has there been any contact?
So I have been approaching them through various means, but there were hardly any concrete of the output.
No, we understand, sir. This is, of course, you know, very difficult for you as well, because this is something which should have been offered to you from the government. Assistance of this manner should have been offered to you. But given the stand that you see India take with Pakistan, you know, what is your demand? How do you want justice for your son, sir?
No, this is not only for Captain Saurabh Kalia and the 5 soldiers. This is a dignity of our all men in forces. Pakistan has been violating the Geneva Convention and all other things, indulging in all other things. But the government of India has hardly taken any action so far.
And understandably, you feel hurt as well as a father whose son laid down his life fighting for this country in 1999 in Kargil. And for you to be treated like this, it sets a very bad example for anyone actually going into the army as well. What about the motivation for them?
No, in case where such incident happens with armed people, armed forces, it is unfortunate and sad. Well, I feel personally to sacrifice the father nation. Every soldier would love to, but not happen to Captain Saurabh Kalia and his 5 soldiers. No parents, no army, no nation can see to that.
Mr. N K Kalia, we're also making this appeal along with you, but you know, if this was something which you wanted to put across to the government of India, make an appeal to actually take stock of the situation and actually intervene, what do you have to say, sir?
No, this is my last hope. The Supreme Court has a very good image among the masses in the entire nation. And I personally feel that it would take stock of the situation in the upright manner and ask or pressurize the government to act.
But are you still hopeful? I mean, it's been more than a decade, close to 13 years now, and no action, still no concrete action has been taken. Are you still hopeful that some resolution might come across?
I'm definitely hopeful. And till I'm alive, because this struggle will continue.
Mr. N K Kalia, I request you to stay on, sir. Lieutenant General Sheru Thapial also now joins us. Sir, just take us through, you know, your reading of the situation. Here's a father seeking justice for his son, a hero for India who laid down his life during the Kargil war. It seems India seems to, you know, easily forget its heroes.
Well, I fully endorse what Mr. Kalia is doing, and definitely he has every right to seek justice. The only thing is that, you know, Pakistan's strategy is always to remain in a form of denial, and this is what they are going to do in this case also. In fact, at that time also they said the same thing. The body was returned that we did nothing. So I do not know how successful it will be, but nonetheless, we are with him, and I'm sure every Indian will be with Mr. Kalia in this endeavor.
Lieutenant General Shankar Prasad now also joins us. Sir, this is a father, you know, who's been demanding justice for the last 13 years. We're talking about a hero who seems to be forgotten, one of many, and that is the problem that seems to be the case with India. You know, on one hand, yes, we can say that Pakistan, you know, can't really be expected to act. there needs to be enough pressure being put on them. But what about, the hundreds of soldiers, thousands of soldiers and their loved ones who go through this every day?
Well, this is a very, very sad story and a very sad commentary on the part of the government of India. The Pakistanis did whatever they did, and I don't even want to say what they did to this brave Indian lad. But what we should have done is to respect our soldiers. Unfortunately, this government and this country does not know how to respect their soldiers, whether living or dead. And here is a superb case, here's an ideal case, here's a classic case where as soon as this incident occurred, we should have taken the matter not only diplomatically with the government of Pakistan, where they may have done nothing about it, we should have certainly taken this matter seriously with the International Court of Justice, with the United Nations, to defame this country which has mutilated our body. And I think we need to do it even now if we didn't do it at that time. Now that the Supreme Court has given a ruling, it is incumbent on the part of our government to take the matter with the International Court of Justice and with the United Nations and with the government of Pakistan and see that the matter is pursued and not permitted to die a natural death. That we have just taken it up and Pakistan does nothing about it. That's no way to respect your soldiers. And I'm afraid this is the whole bane of this country, that people give their lives and when they ask for their dues, nothing seems to be giving back to them. I'm afraid the nation needs to get up and wake up and say, look, you have to fight for your defense services, you have to fight for their rights, you have to fight what is legitimately due to them.
General Prasad, we've got Mr. N K Kalia listening into what you're saying as well, and certainly these words, come across as encouragement for him, a man who's been fighting, looking for justice for the last 13 years. But sir, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a fight that he seems to be fighting single-handedly. It's one thing for, to support, to come across, but something to actually transpire, something to actually take place on the ground. The government certainly seems oblivious of everything that's happening.
Well, that's the pity. That is the whole story. The government doesn't care about armed forces. The government doesn't understand as to what the armed forces do for them to maintain the security and integrity of India. Young people shed their blood every single day. If you read the newspaper today, the defense minister has made a statement on the floor of the parliament giving out the number of people who have died in the last 10 years or so. And those are the issues which the government must understand and have a sympathetic consideration towards the demands and towards the legitimate requests and legitimate rights of the defense services.
General Prasad, General Thapliyal, I'll appreciate you joining us with your inputs here. Mr. N K Kalia, here, you have these words of encouragement coming across, urging you to also carry on this fight, perhaps a nudge to the government as well that they must take up this case. But you think somewhere down the line, support stops at a certain stage. You need to see action because that hasn't happened for the last 13 years.
Exactly. And I'm so thankful to headlines today and for doing this story, and I thank with all the people who have supported us in all those 13 years through your media, please.
No, it should be us, sir, thanking you, because it is your son, amongst many others, who laid down their lives for this country, which is why we were safe as well. And it is in this situation which makes things very difficult. Mr. N K Kalia, appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much, sir. But stay on. I request you to stay on. Talat Masood now also joins us. Mr. Masood, sitting in Pakistan as well, watching a story like this, this clearly happens too often. You think that there should be some reaction from Pakistan as well. There should be some kind of movement from Pakistan as well, given the way prisoners of war have been treated, evidently, through this case at least.
Well, as you know, it's very unfortunate and one can understand the feelings of the father. But the question is that when there is a war, all sorts of things happen in war. War is a messy thing and you are well aware of that. And unfortunately, we have experienced quite a few of these. And hopefully, we will not see many of these in the future. That is what we all should be working towards. And I think these incidents are also a stark reminder as to how important it is that India and Pakistan should move forward towards reconciliation and a better future for South Asia. So I think I have no comment other than to say that it was an unfortunate, the whole episode was unfortunate. It should not have happened. It happened, and hope that we don't repeat these incidents, and we don't have future Siachins or Kargil, and that's why it's important to sort of bring about a resolution of these problems, and that is why I think Pakistan is also very keen that India and Pakistan should meet and resolve these problems rather than allow them to fester and bring about these very, very sad and unfortunate incidents.
But General Masood, why not, take that first step forward? Why not, actually perhaps carry out an inquiry? This is a case which is not new. It's been around for the last 13 years. No action still taken. Why can't the Pakistan establishment, perhaps as a confidence building measure as well, initiate some kind of action, try and give some hope to people like this?
Well, I think there is, there would be so many cases like these on both sides. So it is more like, opening a Pandora box and opening the wound. It won't help. And I'm sure that you being, you know so much more than I do, that these inquiries will never really result in anything concrete or anything coming to some sort of a foreclosure. So I think it is pointless to pursue these, but one can understand the feelings of the father, and there are many fathers like that in Pakistan as well. So I think the best thing is to move forward rather than open the wounds.
General Masood, thanks very much for joining us with your perspective, giving us a sense of how Pakistan is dealing with the situation. Mr. N K Kalia, a brave father of a brave son, thank you so much for carrying forth this fight. We'll try and voice out everything that we can as well on your behalf, and hopefully the government will pay heed and pay attention to our heroes as well. Thanks so much for joining us, sir.